Good evening. I'd like to call the study session of North Augusta City Council for Monday, January the 8th, 2024 to order. And this time I'd like to turn it over to our City Administrator, Mr. Jim Clifford.
Mr. Mayor, we got a pretty packed agenda this evening, so I'd like to kind of set the table early and say that first we have a study session to do a number of things. First, to review the agenda for the 22nd January meeting, to also have department details, and last but not least, to make sure we swear in Chief Junior Johnson here as our Department of Public Safety Chief in a more formal way. And so that's part of what we're doing tonight. And then we're going to move into a special called council session. We have a number of items that I had requested based on a level of time sensitivity for contracts, which is why we're having this event, and then followed by that by an executive session. And before we even get into all that, I would like to do a quick update while we've got the most number of people here in the room. First of all, based on National Weather Service feedback and potential tornadoes in the area, especially into the mid-afternoon, the city is going to close all their offices tomorrow. This is in line with the Aiken County, City of Aiken, Edgefield County Schools, Aiken County Schools, USC Aiken, and Aiken Tech. So if you were planning on coming to the finance department or building standards or anything tomorrow, those offices will be closed. We will have personnel conducting sanitation activities in the morning. We're going to make a weather call on that as that goes. But for now, sanitation is still a go for tomorrow, and we'll have public works crews on standby to do road clearing if it's required. And of course, public safety will still be on duty regardless. So good for them. I'd also like to...
Wait,
yes, ma'am.
can I ask, I guess, Rick, because we've got, a bunch of us got games tomorrow. That means the games are canceled, so we can let the parents know that tonight. Okay, thank you.
Second, I'd like to introduce, if I may, our newest employee, our new Assistant City Administrator, J.D. McCullough. You might recognize him as a former HR manager here. But this is J.D.'s first day, and we're excited to have him here at our study session. So welcome, J.D., and happy to have you on the team. And last but not least, I'd like to pride myself as being a good planner, but I could not see myself around having a 3-for meeting on the night of the college football championship, so I will do my best to step us through and move this docket along if I can. So if we may...
I'm not sure how many of the people here are going to be following either one of those things.
No SEC or ACC teams in the mix, Mr. Mayor, so I get it. It's probably not important to most people here in the room, but we'll go ahead and move forward anyway. So I'd like to address for the 22nd of January. That's what we're talking about now, which is the agenda for the 22nd. And the first thing I'd like to put on here, this is listed as old business because the first item is going to be covered in the special called council meeting tonight. But it's listed under Planning Development Ordinance number 2024-01 to amend the zoning map of the city of North Augusta by rezoning plus or minus 0.05 acres of land owned by Riverside Village H. And it lists all the parcel numbers from planned development to DTMU2, downtown mixed use 2, second reading. And so ultimately, and Tommy can talk this a little more in detail if that's required, but we found that when we were looking at Riverside Village, the parcels were zoned in the correct way with the exception of parcels H, which are multiple smaller parcels, which are designed to be townhome according to the PD. And so this was an administrative action where the developer had requested through the Planning Commission late last year to amend that to the proper zoning. Tommy Paradise and his crew looked at it and concurred, made that recommendation along with the developer to the Planning Commission. And so this comes now to City Council as an ordinance reading, the first reading, which will be tonight in the special called, the second reading, which will be in the council meeting on the 22nd, which we're reviewing now. But I'll pause for any questions for council members regarding this action, or myself or Tommy can take a shot at those. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move into the next two items are really housekeeping. We have a number of items that were tabled by the council at staff recommendation, and we're not allowed to keep those on the table indefinitely. So this is we have the next two actions, ordinance number 2022-14 and 2023-15, listed as items number 6 and 7, respectively, on your agendas, were actions. The first being to approve the general development plan for the Bluegrass, also known as Mealing Place, here on East Buena Vista Road. They had withdrawn their initial request and went forward with a new PD, which had been approved. So there's no reason for this to still be out there. So our recommendation is to remove this from the table and have it be denied. And then the second item on there is the North Augusta Development Code, which again was recently passed by the City Council. So this other action is not required, and it was tabled based on some feedback we had from citizens and moving into the Planning Commission. So likewise, our recommendation is to put this back on the table and have the City Council deny that one as well, because the City Council's already passed the Development Code at the end of last year. So I'll pause for questions on these two that are housekeeping items, although I think Kelly's got something.
Yeah, Jim, I got one question on the 2214. They talk about removing, they have a new development plan now, is that correct?
They had a different development plan. Remember, they had requested a change to their development plan, and that did not go well here in the council chambers, and then the council voted to table it. And then they went forward with a different plan, and that's what actually got approved.
All right, what I would prefer that they do is withdraw that request rather than council deny it. There could be, I don't think it's like a zoning thing or and different things that if it's turned down, you can't change it within a certain period of time. But if this is totally changed and that development plan, they're not interested anymore, it would be preferable for them to withdraw it.
All right, we'll go ahead and have that for discussion for the 22nd, but thank you.
All right.
Any other items or questions on items 6 and 7?
But now they're still going to build just a different plan.
Yes, ma'am. So they're already still building. As a matter of fact, the city has already transferred $600,000
Yeah,
of ARPA
right.
funds for the stormwater portion of that project. So if you drive down East Buena Vista now, heading west to east, you'll see that they've cleared a significant amount of land and are embarking on the stormwater portion of this, along with some general site conditions.
Is this the one where they wanted to make it all one parcel, Tommy? Is that what this was? And I know we tabled it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the action. Moving on to item number 8, under Law and Justice, the 2024 jury box motion to accept. This is an annual requirement. The mayor has already reviewed an extract of the jury box, and so we'll have a motion for you all to accept the jury box going into 2024. Again, this is a routine action that happens every January for City Council to consider. Subject to any questions on that, we'll move into item number 9. Even though this is listed as planning and development, really the action officer on this is Tom Zeser, and this is ordinance number 2024-02 to abandon a portion of a storm sewer easement located in the Green Forest Commons subdivision. First reading, and I'd ask Tom if he wouldn't mind addressing this one.
Yeah, this is fairly procedural. Many years ago, a development, Green Forest at Knollwood, was constructed and approved by the city, and that subdivision had an off-site storm sewer within an easement, and that was dedicated to the city. We have, within the last year, approved a development plan called the Green Forest Commons, and that storm sewer crosses through some lots to be platted for development, and so the developer has relocated the storm sewer and rededicated a new storm sewer easement on the new line. And so this action is just to abandon the portion of the old storm sewer easement that crosses through lots to be developed.
And this will not affect, since we've had a lot of, I hate to say complaints, with the old Knollwood, this would not affect any of those housing.
No, this is on the opposite end, the 5 Notch
Okay.
Road end of the development.
Tom did a much more masterful job of explaining that than I could have, so I appreciate him stepping to the plate. The next item is item number 10 under Finance, Resolution number 2024-04, which is approving the annual assessment report and amendment of the assessment roll for the Ballpark Village Municipal Improvement District and confirming the collection of annual assessments therein for the 2023-2024 assessment year. And if you have really detailed questions, I'm going to drag Linda up here to the podium. But essentially, this is an annual requirement that the city has, and our finance department, along with our outside financial advisors, reconstruct what the mid payments are supposed to be for the upcoming year, and that is based on a variety of numbers. But ultimately, it's a pretty close approximation to how it, or lines up with how it went last year. So what we're going to be requesting from the city council is for the approval of that mid, because that allows us to then charge the developer for the mid fees in May. That'll be due at that time. As a reminder for our citizens, the mid is essentially the fees that the developer pays on open lots in Riverside Village at the rate that is if they were already developed. So that's our fail-safe, if you will, in Riverside Village, is that their taxes are paid at a higher rate until construction is complete, in which case they then get it taxed and assessed at the rate of the completed building. Subject to questions, I'll move to item 11 under administration, which I believe Jamie will be able to talk to along with Linda. Resolution number 2024-05, authorizing extensions of awarded allocation of the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee for the disbursement of revenues from the accommodations tax year 2021 to 2022. This is not something that the council has seen before. We've never done an extension, but this is evidently required for us to roll money into the next year if it hasn't been fully obligated. And so as we've done some research, and specifically Jamie and Linda have done some research on this particular topic, in order for us to stay on the right side of things, there's a formal action that has to occur with the council to move the ATAX money into the next year for full execution. But I'll pause for any questions for either Jamie or Linda.
I thought we've done that once before, right?
I don't recall doing it last year, but
Okay, I think we did it one year, okay.
So all this is moving from this year to next year.
actually from the year before to this year.
Oh, yeah.
Just to clarify, the items that will be presented at the next meeting are for unused funds from specific items that you all recommended the award from the ATAX committee. The ATAX committee has not met yet. They'll be meeting later this week to review those to recommend to the council, and then that will be in your packet coming forward.
And last but not least, resolution number 2024-06, to appoint a hearing officer for business licenses. And so this is preemptive in nature. We do not have any cases before us, but this would allow us to be able to have a hearing officer appointed such that if a business license was to be either revoked or to not be extended, and the business owner wanted to appeal that, it would have to go to a hearing officer. So this cuts the time frame down for us to at least get somebody on the record, on the books, in that kind of way. And Kelly Zier is working with me to make sure we have the right protocols in place to do that for our council meeting on the 22nd.
So that's a new employee then?
No, ma'am. This is an appointed position, not a
what
full
now?
appointed, almost like a planning
Oh, an
commission or a BZA.
appointed.
Yes.
It would probably be somebody we would request that would handle this and would do it on an hourly basis, type charge.
Well, I mean, is this something we need as an employee versus
No,
appointed?
no, because we've never had to use this before.
Right.
But if we do revoke or whatever with a business license, they're entitled to a hearing, and it's either by the council or by your designee, and it's just better to go ahead and have somebody lined up so timing can be taken care of.
Is that normal in a city?
Do what?
Is this normal? I mean, I just worry about people having their license revoked and you're not a paid employee of the city. What is the...
Councilwoman, I think a use case that we're talking about is activities or businesses that are involved in illicit activities that have law enforcement aspects to it. So this is not, the government, the city government going after, a bakery or something along those lines. It's about things that are that have a law enforcement component for the most part.
Well, I just like when people are held accountable for the city of North Augusta, not just, okay, come on. As long as Kelly says, okay, but I worry about that appointed people sort of handling such major decisions. I don't know. But if you say it's right,
Well, I mean, there's guidelines that they've got to go by, and I think we just need to have the right person that is prepared and familiar with that. And I will also tell you that I think it's somewhat of a judicial type proceeding, and so I'm thinking that we need someone with some legal experience to do it, and I think it's better, since it's the city that would be revoking, that we not have a city employee or handle it. That's right, yeah. I mean, I will tell you, in the last year, I was appointed for the city of Aiken to handle one over there, and it's just,
what did you say their background would have to be?
well, since you're holding what is pretty much a judicial proceeding, I think that somebody's got to have some legal experience to be able to do that.
Mr. Mayor, subject to any questions, that concludes the agenda review, and we'll move into department details, led off by Linda Williamson for finance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The updates I have for you tonight are our Cycle 1 disconnect dates will be next week, January 17th and 18th. Cycle 2 will have their due date on January 19th. And just a reminder, our online payments are currently unavailable during this time until we have reached the year-end close process. That will at least go through this week, and hopefully we will bring it back online next week. Also, just to note that the city did receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the GFOA for the 22 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And just a note, this report, this Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting.
Linda,
This should be about our 40th year, isn't it?
Yes, it's, we're continuing the
Tradition.
tradition.
let me go back one thing. We're confident with the new software and everything we're doing with the financial end that this next year we won't be having this problem, right?
Correct.
That's our goal. That's what I'm
We
telling
have been
people, so I'll make
guaranteed
sure.
by,
Okay.
by the software people that this will not occur once we are fully functioning with the new software.
Well, I actually was going to read this letter I received about that award.
Oh.
Thank you for you and your staff for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, Public Services, James Sutton.
Good evening. This week and into next week, sanitation staff will be delivering the holiday collection schedule for 2024 and the recycling schedule. It'll be one page front and back. It'll continue into next week because we have a little delay tomorrow in some of the service, but we'll get the job done. In the same, we're processing and picking up Christmas trees curbside, mulching them, and using the mulch for our flower beds throughout the various landscapes. And last but not least, wastewater interceptor project that's on the agenda for tonight. I'll be brief with it. We're looking forward to the project upon approval from City Council. We've got all the administrative stuff done on Phase 1, which involves the cleaning and inspections of the pipe system. It's 29,300 feet of interceptor lines that were installed in 1950. It's basically going to renew those pipelines. And going to be a good project. It's going to be a good benefit for the city.
James, how long will the Christmas tree recycling? We'll be picking those trees up all just this week or for the next couple
We're
weeks?
going to run it into some part of next week, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next up, Tommy Paradise from P&D.
Mr. Mayor, we have the Arts Technical Coordinating Committee meeting this Wednesday, and then the Planning Commission will be meeting on January the 17th.
Chief Johnson.
This week, we're going to do promotions boards so we can continue to fill out the staff at public safety for lieutenants and sergeants. We'll be doing that throughout the day on Wednesday. Also, myself and Captain Sherman will be meeting with Margaret Key with the Aiken Center on Thursday. And also, we're getting an embedded clinician with the Aiken Barnwell Mental Health, and they're supposed to be starting with us in public safety on Wednesday.
Next, Rick Meyer from PRT. Yeah, I keep saying PRT, just Parks and Rec.
That's right. Parks and Recreation tonight, our maintenance team is in the process of removing Christmas decorations and banners over the last week and this week. We've got a little hiccup as the city bucket truck is down, so we'll be looking for alternative ways to get the rest of the decorations down, hopefully by the end of this week. Tomorrow morning, we have a Zoom call, our staff and the wrecking crew regarding the North Augusta Miracle League field, and hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have some information for a groundbreaking date and a scheduled timeline for that project. And last, the youth basketball program is in progress. Tonight runs through February the 10th. We are playing games Monday through Saturday each week, and just asking for a little bit of patience with our pickleball crowd, because after February 10th, we'll open back up a little bit. We do have space for them during the daytime. It's just nighttime and weekends are pretty tough until the youth basketball program is over.
Now I have a question, or either to Jim or Rick. A young lady called me today that she was stuck in the elevator right before Christmas, and she rang the bell, but nobody heard it up front. Was Susan and them were vacuuming, so they couldn't hear it. So my question, when that bell rings, where does it go to? Not only did she, but several months ago, a little senior citizen that was 90 years old was on that elevator stuck. And I know personally myself, when I'm over there, a lot of times there's trouble with the elevator. So, but these people were stuck, and just finally it started working, but they were real upset. So when you ring the bell,
Yeah,
does the bell ring
if you pick
to?
up that red phone, you have to dial 9. It goes straight to the front desk.
Oh, well, the front people said they never heard it.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, we have to check the phone line
Yeah,
out. We're
I mean,
also looking.
that's not good.
Yeah, we're also looking at that elevator itself as well.
Okay. Because I hate to say, now I'll use the elevator, I'm getting old, but majority of people use it are probably 75 to 90 years old. And you don't want them stuck on the elevator.
No, ma'am.
Jim, real quick, I couldn't find my sheet when Chief Johnson was up here, but I wanted to just, Chief, y'all know this because y'all posted it, but I just wanted folks out there to realize I want to brag on SRO Hooper. He is at Paul Knox Middle School, and he encourages students to pay attention to their surroundings by participating in an awareness campaign. And he wanted the students to feel comfortable notifying an adult when they saw something that concerned them. So all the students were encouraged to participate in a scavenger hunt. And the students received pictures, were instructed by email, and basically Peyton Garrett found 4 of the 5 pictures, Zachary Grant found 3 of 5, and all of Miss Dover's class found all 5 of them. So I just think this is a compliment to our resource officers. Here is a way they're taking a real issue and bringing it in a way that kids, young students can appreciate it. So just hats off to SR Hooper, so make sure you let him know we want to thank him for his efforts.
And I hate to quit asking so many questions here, but is that throughout every school, North Augusta Middle, Highlands, or is it just PK?
No, we have a,
Oh, I know we got a resource officer, but is this program being?
This was only just an idea that Hooper did.
At Paul Knox?
Yeah, Paul Knox.
Yeah, but I think, so. And I'm gonna bring up one more thing here. And I'm worried about this, and I know we talked, Belvedere Elementary is the only school with no resource officer. Okay, but like I said, and I know it's county, it is not the city. And Chief Thomas was going to check with Sheriff Hunt. And I don't know if anything ever got done with that, but to me, that's horrible that one school is left out. And I know we got the grant to do our city of North Augusta, but I don't know if you can maybe check a little more into that, Chief Johnson, and just, like I said, I called several people, but they said they were gonna talk to Sheriff Hunt. But to think one little school has no resource, and when you think of North Augusta schools, Belvedere is really included in that.
Good point. Thank you. All right, all yours.
For our first ever tourism update, Carl is going to go ahead and kick that off.
Good evening. Just want to pass along a couple notes. True Hotel, located off of Exit 5 in Walnut Village, is now online. Had some good conversation with them, and look forward to partnering them with events as we do all the rest of the folks to offer accommodations within North Augusta. Have an audio-visual upgrade scheduled for Community Center in the ballroom, which can include obviously some audio, and we'll also have 4 monitors around the perimeter of the room to kind of help out with events in there. We have 8 events and 1 trolley rental scheduled over the next couple of weeks. And a personal note, I moved over to the Community Center, so relocated over there if you need to come visit me. All my contact info is the same, and look forward to expanding our tourism efforts within the city of North Augusta.
And Carl, the thing that when Jim sent out his Friday update was it was nice to know y'all working on those lights.
Yes, sir. Yes, we've
That's
made
a big deal. We have a lot of problems with those lights.
It is. We're gonna focus on that, but we're doing what we can in-house with our staff. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next up, Tom Caesar for Public Works.
So we have a welcome to North Augusta sign that's on I-520, right after you cross the Savannah River coming into the city of North Augusta. That sign has, just due to age and some damage, was not so welcoming anymore. So that sign has been removed or taken down and is in the shop being refurbished and will be reinstalled as soon as it is completed.
Does DOT do that, or are we doing that?
No, that's City of North Augusta
city sign, okay.
Yes, that's one of our custom
Signs, okay.
signs. I was asked to give an update on the Woodlawn Avenue slope failure. As of today, the DOT is still evaluating various repair options and trying to develop a budget for that project. So not a whole lot of update that they could offer. So it's still in planning. Good news is the road has not completely failed yet. So
That is good.
But however, I have instructed streets and drains crews to at least do some maintenance there. The sidewalk and the gutter does look pretty unkempt, and so that they will at least make that look better before the end of this week.
Thank you.
And then Bluff Avenue, that the streetscape work is 100% complete, just pending a final inspection and whatever punch list comes out of that inspection. One item that is the lighting is it's working. Some might say it's working too well. So
light is good. We needed some downtown.
I haven't had any specific complaints by any residents, but I would just ask you to look at it at night and give me any feedback if you think it's too excessive. The good thing about those LED fixtures is they are with a very minor retrofit, they are a dimmable fixture. So if we feel like it is a little too much, let me know. And
Well, the lights are not as close as the ones on the Riverwatch, so we're probably pretty good.
That's correct. But anyway, I would appreciate any feedback if it's.
Well, if you hadn't been by 'em, I came from Riverview Park here on Bluff. I'm telling you, I love those lights. It looked like daytime. But I'm like the mayor, we need
gotta
them
work on the
downtown North
piece,
Augusta. But
dark.
if you haven't ridden down Bluff, go look.
That's great, yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
And I actually did have a resident reach out to me and said the same thing, and I agreed. It's beautiful. It looks really good. But they were a little concerned with the brightness of the light, so it may be
Right, and
something we
that's
wanna
what I'm
look at.
referring
It's-
to. So
Yeah. I mean, it is gorgeous, but you ride down there at 10 o'clock, and it's like daytime, and I'm not sure I'd want to.
And we can
live in an eternal sunlight.
with that retrofit, we can adjust them all independent of each other. So it's not like an all or none. You can do individual ones if we get specific complaints.
Let's adjust a
deal
little
with
bit.
those.
Let's adjust it then. Thank you, Tom.
Last but not least, Kayla Ferguson from HR.
Evening, Mayor and Council. If you turn on the back of your department details, you'll see our positions we have open, and I have also updated those to reflect the 2024 budget changes. And with that being said, I've also begun processing our salary adjustment on grade and our COLAs that you all approved for us. So next paycheck, those will be in our employees' bank accounts. Thank you.
For the council members, I would say that between Chief Thomas now, Chief Johnson, they've been working pretty well to fill a number of the vacancies we've had in the public safety department. My guidance will still stand in that we're going to maintain advertising for firefighter dispatch and public safety officer positions, even if they get to 100% fill rate, just because the market as it is competitive, and you don't know when people are going to opt to retire or to move on to other employment. And so ultimately, we just want to make sure we have the ability to quickly, move into a new hire candidate if it's required. So you may see, those three particular disciplines underneath public safety that may or may not reflect actual vacancies that are there at the time. It has a lot to do with what we're trying to do, which is have a ready bench, which we have not yet achieved, but that's our hope. That's where we'll go. So subject to any questions, that concludes the study session portion of, or correction, it does not. I have one more thing, and that's for the mayor and Chief Johnson.
If Chief Joe R. Johnson would meet me up front, please, sir. Now, Chief, I know Katie's up there. I'm not going to embarrass her to make her come down. And you got Tanner and Tate and Vernon up there. I know your dad raised here. Anybody else and family members up there?
My mother, Judy's up there.
Okay.
My in-laws, Jimmy and Jenny, are up there as well.
Some good support, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And all your funds. All right, good. All right, here's how we're going to do this. This is the North Augusta Department of Public Safety oath of office. So I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, and then I will say some of the words, and you repeat after me. I, Joe R. Johnson, do solemnly swear.
I, Joe R. Johnson, do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of South Carolina,
the Constitution of the State of South Carolina,
and the ordinances of the City of North Augusta.
and the ordinances of the City of North Augusta,
That I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge my duties
and impartially discharge my duties
as a public safety officer during my continuance therein.
as a public safety officer during my continuance therein,
That I'm not directly or indirectly, pecuniarily
that I'm not directly, indirectly, or peculiarly
interested
interested
in any public service corporation
in any public service corporation
engaged in any business in the City of North Augusta
engaged in any business in the City of North Augusta
or with any other person or corporation having contracts with said city.
or with a person or business with a contract with said city.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay. Welcome to you guys. Hold the microphone.
There you go. I'm looking forward to the opportunity that we have at Public Safety. We're forming the team, coming together with the command staff that's fallen in place, and we're also looking forward to our promotions we got this week. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight to support me. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank council and the mayor and the administrator for what they're doing, helping us out, getting a new headquarters. It's building a lot of excitement within public safety, and we're just ready to see its completion.
We are too, and we're excited. You've already jumped on the ground running fast with everything, so we're excited about the future. Okay, and here is Jamie put this oath that we both signed, and she's notarized in a nice little frame here for you, so a little memorabilia there. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Let's give him a round of applause. Nothing more on your end?
No, Mr. Mayor, that concludes
so
the study session.
that's study session. So we are at this point. We are going to close out the study session. We're going to adjourn it. Does anybody need to, everybody good? All right, then, then I'd like to open up the City of North Augusta Special Call City Council meeting for January the 8th, 2024. What I'd like to do is have a roll call starting from my left.
Eric Presnell.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
David Buck.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, and I turn over you, Mr. Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the first item for consideration here is listed under Planning and Development, which is ordinance number 2024-01. We talked about this in the study session that you'll be reading the first ordinance tonight. The second ordinance will be on the 22nd of January. And this is to rezone plus or minus 0.05 acres of land owned by Riverside Village H Owner LLC. So the H parcels, if you recall, are the very small ones that are designed to be townhomes behind parcel G and closest to the Crown Plaza Hotel, between the Crown Plaza and the river. And so ultimately, as our staff and the developer had reviewed the site plans, or correction, the PD, those parcels were not included in the original zoning for downtown. And so the developer, along with Tommy Paradise and his staff, made a recommendation to the Planning Commission to get those zoned appropriately. The Planning Commission met on this back in December and recommended that those be zoned in the way detailed. And so this was not necessarily a priority item as far as time sensitivity, but since we had a council meeting scheduled this evening for other items, we decided we'd go ahead and put this on the batting order because it was ready to go.
And now that way, all of those parcels now will be downtown mixed use too.
Yes, sir.
Bear with me here, folks. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading? All right, Ms. Carpenter, thank you. Mr. McGee. I had you talking before I did the motion, so we've already done that. Anything else you need to add to that?
No, sir.
Any questions for Jim? Okay. Any citizen comments? Okay, council discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 4, Administration Resolution Number 2024-01, authorizing expenditures of coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, expenditure request number 11. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Councilman Buck, and second? All right, Mr. Presnell, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So items 4 and 5 are linked. So the first item that's before you here with this resolution number 2024-01, which is a request to draw money out of the SLURF or ARPA for use for projects. I have 2 projects that are identified in Appendix A. I'll talk the second or the first project more in depth on the next resolution. But essentially what we're asking for is $575,000 out of the SLURF and ARPA fund for the Riverside Village amphitheater expansion and the restroom facilities. And then the second item under Appendix A is $35,000 for the Augusta Tomorrow downtown plan. They had asked for $50,000. The mayor and I had conferred, talked to Augusta Tomorrow, and felt that $35,000 was viable based on the city's previous contribution of that amount during the last plan review that they had. So what you have before you then is a total request of $610,000 for SLURF to be able to draw that for those 2 projects. And I can either talk the amphitheater project during this resolution, or we can wait to go to the next one. But considering you're going to be potentially approving the $610,000, I can tell you what you're really getting it for. And so, as we talked about last year late, we subdivided the amphitheater and associated projects really into kind of 2 phases and 4 chunks. So the first phase was the boat dock and the overlook. And the design and engineering for that phase of the project had been completed, and our intention was to have the boat dock completed by the summer, hopefully by Memorial Day weekend. So there was some time sensitivity associated with that, and we did not have the design and engineering complete for the amphitheater and the restroom portion. So we went forward and selected Artie Brown as the CM at risk contractor. Cranston Engineering is our design and engineering firm for the entire project, so for the whole scope of things, but we subdivided it into two parts. So the first part is one that the council has already approved, and as you see now in Riverside Village, Artie Brown is mobilized there at the Greenway and closed a portion of it to start moving forward on the boat dock and the overlook portion of it. And now that the design and engineering is complete, and we went through some value engineering drills to keep the cost a little more in line with what we were hoping for with the project, now we're at a position where we can come back to the council and ask for additional funds to finish out the amphitheater and also the restroom facility portion of that. And so when you look at that resolution, that's the next one, resolution number 2024-02, what that does is set that portion of the budget at $989,391 with the GMP guaranteed maximum price with Artie Brown as $905,971. And the difference between the $989 cost and the $905 cost, much like with the public safety headquarters, that involves the design and engineering firm cost, that involves some FF&E, and then also project contingency. So just like with any other project we're doing within the SLURF lines, any money that is not used by that project will come back to council to vote to move that money back into the overall fund, which we've already done once, or actually twice now, and we'll be prepared to go do again. What we're going to also do is partner with two outside funding sources to do the rest of this project. So one is $264,391 from the South Carolina PRT Land and Water Conservation Funds for the restroom facility for the rest area, and then also $150,000 for the South Carolina PRT Undiscovered Grant Program for the expansion. So this is an opportunity for us to partner with grant funding using our match out of ARPA because there's a one-to-one match required for these funds at a minimum. And this allows us to move forward with that project. And there's some timelines associated with these grants. I believe at least one of these grants expires in September of this year. So we're going to be right up against it to get this all completed and knocked out and moving forward. So essentially what we're asking for is the $575,000 plus the $264 plus the $150 gets us to that $989 figure, with the GMP being slightly less than that for what the contractor would be getting to actually do the construction.
Bless you.
And I think we have a picture of at least one of the renderings, if we can put that up.
So Jim, if you have a grant and you started the project and you don't finish it, like you're saying, do you lose that, or will they say, well, you got it started?
I believe the answer is you'll lose it. I believe we're required to turn in, as Carl's nodding his head over here. Okay. Every grant is structured differently, or at least can be structured differently. The match levels are different. There are some grants that we've received over time that don't require any match at all. So, for example, the tree grant that we have, that Roy Killer put in for to, put a lot of trees in the city, that did not require any match from the city. A lot of federal grants require a 15 or 25% match. These particular state grants out of PRT, the state level PRT, was a one-for-one match. So at a minimum, we were going to have to spend $264K for the bathroom facility and $150K for the expansion of the amphitheater.
My guess is each of those grants have a separate date, right?
They do.
Whichever one is the highest priority, we need to get.
Well, I'd like to get them both done, Mr. Mayor. And so the good news is that the contractor is already mobilized, and they're ready to go. So we have a complete design. We have Tom Dunaway here from Cranston Engineering, and can certainly talk through any of your questions about the design aspect or what's going to be occurring there. But they're essentially ready to go. And so what you have there is a rendering of what the building would look like. We had actually examined a number of different design aspects to include a two-story restroom where you'd have an overlook, but the cost factor got really beyond the scope of the project and was going to eat up just every bit of dollars that we had left in the SLURF fund. So we ended up value engineering this back down to the original size of the bathroom. So what you have is a restroom facility, and you have some storage in here so that we can have janitorial services and that kind of stuff down there to be able to deal with that site. It does not have a second tower, so one of the original renderings we had matching brick towers. So you already have one brick tower down there, which is the original brick item that's there on the causeway or on the the concrete space there in front of southbound. And one of the original concepts had this bathroom facility being mirrored on each side. And again, that was going to start becoming cost prohibitive. And so we value engineered that out to get us down to a project budget that we felt comfortable with presenting here to the city council. And do we have a picture of an overhead for the amphitheater itself? There you go, thank you.
So what's the timeline to complete this project?
Well, it has to be completed by September. Boat dock should be done by Memorial Day. Those are so there are different rules associated with the boat dock because that's partnered with state watercraft funds, which I don't believe have the same expiration date. But our timeline with the boat dock has to do partially with river closures for Corps of Engineers construction, and also based on the fact that we really had intended on getting the boat dock in last year, but when we started wrapping it into the overall project, we wanted to make sure that we had a fully complete boat dock, and so our goal is to have it in by Memorial Day weekend.
Is that brick sort of match?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I know that's over the years, North Augusta's tried to, you can say this is North Augusta because it all matches throughout the city.
Tom's giving me the head nod, Councilwoman, so the answer is yes.
Nope.
The good news is because the brick column that's there is fairly new, it wasn't as much of a problem to match the brick. If that had been a 10 or 15-year-old column, I wouldn't be able to say we'd be able to guarantee the match of the brick.
Any other questions for Jim? Okay, any citizen comments? Any council discussion? I hear none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item 5, Parks and Recreation. Resolution number 2024-02, authorizing the budget and funding source for the construction of the Sharon Jones Amphitheater Expansion Rest Area. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. President, is there a second? Buck, thank you. Clifford?
I believe I covered this in the last item, Mr. Mayor, and I'll take any questions if you have any questions. Or again, we've got the project team here with Rick Meyer and then Tom Dunaway from Cranston. If you have any specific construction questions.
All right. Any citizen comments? Any council discussion? All right, here now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Item 6, Public Services, Resolution number 2024-03, authorizing the City of North Augusta to enter into a contract with Augusta Industrial Services, Inc. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution? I'm sorry. Item 6. All right, so I think that was Mr. Presnell for first. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Toole, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Ms. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I got James sitting here next to me, so you have specific technical questions, James can certainly take a crack at it. Essentially, what we have before you is a request to approve a contract. So the funding has been laid out, through a previous SLURF request that the City Council had approved. City Council also approved a contract that we have with AECom, which, much like Cranston is the design and engineering firm for, the amphitheater project, AECom is our design and engineering firm for a number of our public services, including the wastewater interceptor project, which is the same project we got the $7.6 million state RIA grant for. And so ultimately what we're asking for is the ability to enter into a direct contract with Augusta Industrial Services. What that contract would allow us to do is for Augusta Industrial Services to camera the line, to be able to do a full assessment of the areas that can be slip-lined and the areas that need to be repaired, and then also allows for us to pull some of the grit out of the system itself. And so what this contract would do, we would normally go through AECom, but we have a relationship with this vendor as well, and so ultimately it's going to be faster for us to go directly to this subcontractor to enter into this contract because they can start work, I believe, by the end of January. To be able to start moving through this project. And as you all know, with the, I don't say strings attached, but the timeline requirements for state-level SLURF funding. You have to move the project along in a certain timeline, or else your funding becomes at risk. And a lot of municipalities and counties are fighting to get the same types of vendors to do the work that they're trying to do wastewater and water type of improvement projects. And so anything we can do to shorten the timeline and still keep within our fiscal constraints is something that I'm going to recommend to the council. And this is one of those times we can move this project at a faster rate within the same cost parameters by going directly to this subcontractor. Did I cover that right, James?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions for Jim? All right. Any citizen comments? Any council discussion? All right, here now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, before we get into the item 7, just want to thank Tom Zeeser and administration, Jim especially. They were able to piece together some leftover buckets of money from some of the other projects we did in the municipal center. And if everybody knows, we have a beautiful black rail, handrail in the middle. So now no one should fall going down, including myself. So it's the little things sometimes that make a difference. So anyway, thank y'all for that. That's a big that's a big win, trust me. Yeah, I know. Looks good. Okay, item 7, executive session request of the attorney in compliance with section 30-4-70A2. The city attorney requesting executive session for the purpose of discussion negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements and a proposed sale or purchase of property, the receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims, or the position of the public agency in any adversary situations involving the assertion against the agency of a claim. Discussions are related to Riverside Village. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Ms. Carpenter, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Presnell, all in favor? That is unanimous, and if there's nothing else, we stand adjourned, and thank y'all for coming tonight.